I feel that it's so important for us to understand what our responsibility is in taking care of this planet. This planet has been taking care of us, providing food and shelter and materials and everything that we needed to live. And we have seen what has happened to various parts of the planet. And as we look at the planet today, there's quite a variety of things we see. We see war, we see violence, we see discrimination, we see judgment, we see people starving, we see a shortage in water problems, we see a lot of violence in other countries. And I made a list of some of the things: war, violence, abuse, pollution of the air, waters, and land, power shortages, mistreatment of humans and animals, political chaos everywhere, controversial legislations, school shootings, starvations, uprisings in many countries, personal and spiritual unrest. And then we also have things like Doctors Without Borders who are working in other countries. They don't get paid for it, and they help the people in those countries free. And otherwise they wouldn't have any medical help at all. Now, if you look at the world, you see a lot of negative things going on, but you also see some positive things evolving. For instance, how many of you are familiar with the current feminine empowerment? How many are in favor of it? Yes. Yes, right. It's about time, because for the evolution that we're going through, we need to have a balance of the male and the female. And that masculine-feminine balance is critical. I know that having been brought up in the typical old style, you know, as a young boy, you didn't cry and you couldn't be weak and you couldn't be human, you couldn't have your feelings and so forth. And so for the first 40 years, that was lived that way. And then after I got into Science of Mind, I realized that I had a lot of changes to make, a lot of changes. And thank God to Science of Mind for the guidance that it provided. One of the things that you may have read about, how many of you have seen anything about Bill 5404 in Congress? It's to reenact the gold standard for our country. Have you heard about it? Well, that's a good thing, because around at the end of World War II, there was something called the Bretton Woods Agreement. And Russia, England, and America kind of split things up. And the thing that America got out of it was that we would be the world money standard, the money standard for the world. Well, that gives a nation a tremendous amount of power. That means that your money is recognized everywhere in the world. And then, as you all know, a while back, one of our presidents took us off the gold standard. So if you're not on the gold standard, you don't have anything up to back your money up, where's the value of your money? Well, you can just print money all you want. Does this sound like monopoly? Yeah. Well, of course, then things catch up with you, and other nations say, no, that's not working. So in 2012, there was an organization formed called BRICS: Britain, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And they determined to set up a gold-backed monetary system. And now there are many other countries on it, and now it's just a question of when the US joins it too. So this is an evolutionary thing that will make really dramatic changes. And one of the changes is that America will lose power in the world. And the parts of America that will lose power are the ones that have been controlling a lot of the wars and the politics. And how many of you remember 1987, the harmonic convergence? Well, you know, in Dr. David Hawkins developed something called a map of consciousness. And it's an exponential scale from 1 to 1,000. Anything under 200 is negative, 400 is intellectual, 500 is love, 540 is unconditional love. At the time of Jesus, the planetary consciousness was 90. 200 splits negative and positive. So how would you like to have lived in that world? Yes. If you think we got problems now, I mean, if you read the front part of the Bible, oh my God, this nation killed that nation, and that nation killed that nation. And people were very warring. In 1987, something called the harmonic convergence happened, where a portal energy to this planet opened and filled this planet with some particular positive energies. And so the collective unconsciousness at that time was 190, still negative. But in that period, it jumped from 190 to 207. It went positive. And after that, we began to see all kinds of exposures and beneficial changes. Now, Dr. Hawkins has passed away, but I do kinesiology. How many of you are familiar with kinesiology? Yeah. I use it extensively in my life. To me, kinesiology is a crutch for your intuition. I'll use a crutch when I need it, or a cane. So I've been keeping track of the consciousness. So if you look at the world situation, you might say, well, where is the collective consciousness? Well, it's not at 207 anymore. It's not at 300. It's at 456. 456. Ernest Holmes talked about an infinite evolution that we were involved in. And in the process of evolution, everything goes along like no changes are happening, and it grows and goes and goes and goes. And then it comes to a certain period where it sweeps up. Well, guess what part we're in? We're in that upsweep portion. And that means that everything is accelerating. How many of you find you have time problems these days? Yeah, okay. And how many of you have a lot of confusion these days? Yeah, okay. And you have trouble managing getting the things done you want. Because time is speeding up. And the world we're going through is changing. And part of the reason you see things that look so negative is because the shadow side of the planet is coming up for clearing. But if you look at a consciousness of 456, that's on its way to 500, which is love, and then on its way to 540, which is unconditional love. What do you think is going to change this planet? It's unconditional love. Unconditional love. So we are moving through strong, evolving times. Now, we are not doing this alone. A lot of people don't even know that we have a galactic family, but we have a galactic family, and we have a lot of higher beings who are helping us. So at the current time, we are receiving assistance from the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, the celestial light beings, the galactic family, and it even goes higher than that. So the earth is currently being bombarded with divine light and love to help raise the consciousness of the planet. That's what I'm feeling right now. It's already happening. It's already happening. When I do my prayer at every meal, I give thanks and I do a prayer for the planet. And I call in the company of heaven, all the higher beings. Prayer doesn't have to be complicated. I call all the higher beings to join me as I give thanks that everyone is fed, everyone is sheltered, everyone has the needs that they need to have met, and everyone is loved. That this planet is filled with peace and love. And I thank the higher beings for joining me in my prayer. And they do what they're doing right now. They download me with love in my heart. And my insides are so full of bliss. But the bliss is so enormous that it's overwhelming. I'm not able to handle it yet. But this is what's coming. This is what's coming. This is what is already happening. Now, it is important that as we go through this time, that we don't get caught in the negativity of things. And it's our job at this time to help the transition of this planet. Everybody in this room volunteered to be at the planet on this particular time. And you volunteered, like myself, to be on this planet in order to help the planet. So how do we help the planet? Well, there's a lot of physical things we can do. Paint your roof white. It'll save you 20 to 40% of your energy. Did you know that? Now, did you know that there are 7.5 billion people on this planet, right? Did you also know that there are 20 million cattle? 20 billion cattle, I mean. 20 billion cattle. One produced pound of meat requires 1,800 to 2,500 gallons of water. This planet has water problems all over the place. If you want to cut back on your meat, that could help the situation some. Yeah, there are a lot of physical things that we could do. We could get involved in the environment. But I think there are bigger things we need to do. When we look at the ISIS and we look at all the propaganda and all the conflict and all the bad guys and half the bad and half the bad, some who we think are bad guys are good guys and vice versa, and women too. We look at the situation. How many get angry? How many get angry? Okay. How many get upset? Okay. How many talk about it? Yeah. Okay. Now, Ernest Holmes says that your thoughts are the prelude to your reality. And I also had another quote of his. Yes. He says, our thoughts radiate into the universe and tend to draw back same. So at this point in time, it is essentially critical for us to watch our mouth. Watch our mouth and watch our mind and watch our thoughts. We have to learn to be detached from the criticisms and the judgments, the self-judgment, the judgment of others, the negativities, the angers, the fears, the anxiety, and everything else that is a negative emotion. Because it is time to change our emotions. To change them from the negative to the positive. And the positive is when you're in a higher dimension, you don't condemn the wrong ones, the ones who are doing the violations. You realize that they're wounded, they're in need of help. And we know that, for instance, every person who has been a sexual violator has been violated. So you people angry. We can be very angry at people. And you know what it does is it takes our peace. And it moves us out of our spiritual kind of energy. And when we do that, we actually give energy to the negative side. Is that what we want? We have to change. point in time, we have to send ISIS to all the areas of war, to the negative people, the negative. Love your enemy. Spiritual lesson. We have the best. There is no such thing. Every thought, the universe, the collective unconsciousness of this planet reaches unconditional love. Imagine when the unconscious they know their oneness with each other, and they know their oneness with all life. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, this is where we have to go. We have to go into the consciousness of the oneness. The consciousness of the oneness is pure love. It's pure love. It's absolute pure love. Everyone will begin to feel the energies that are filling the planet. Think of this. Imagine a planet filled with people who feel unconditional love. How will we treat each other? How will we treat Mother Earth? What will our lives be like? What will this planet be like? My goodness gracious. It'll be a total change, wouldn't it? That's where we're going. That's where we're going. We are moving through this evolution, and the evolution is accelerating. And the more it accelerates, the more the negative energies have to be cleared out and will be cleared out. And anything that condemns or judges, puts down, compares, or is prejudicial is out of line. It has to go. All that negative stuff has to go. And we have to fill our hearts with love, with acceptance, with non-judgment, and with help for those that need it. This is a powerful time on this planet. And the most powerful thing that you can do is pray for this planet. And you can keep it simple. You can keep it simple. There's going to be a pass out after I finish the talk. And it's going to have a prayer on it. And that prayer says, with all the higher beings, we decree all is in perfect divine order on earth. Can you imagine what this earth would be like in perfect divine order? No, you can't. You can't possibly imagine it. The love, the peace, the order, the beauty, the magnificence, you can't even begin to imagine it. But when you're in nature, you can begin to imagine it. When you feel that beautiful essence of nature and that peace, and that you see that beauty, or when you see a sunset or a sunrise that touches your heart, or when you look at a little child or a young baby, and you feel those heart vibrations, it is love that is going to transform this planet. So our destination and our goal and our homework assignment is that we need to change all self-criticism and judgment and negativity to ourselves and to others into love, into acceptance, into discretion, into selection, and into wisdom. We do have an important part to change this planet. Every person that raises their consciousness affects the consciousness of this planet. Imagine, if you think you didn't have a part in the earth changes, you've been asleep. It's time to wake up. We all have a part in these earth changes. This is the day of the celebration of the earth. And on this birthday celebration for the earth is a good time for us to make a commitment that we will do everything that we know to support the transformation of this planet, because in the process we will be transforming ourselves from the third dimension into the fifth dimension, which is the process that we're involved in right now. So everything has its perfect order, and the perfect order unfolding now is that transition from that third to the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is very much different from this one. It's love and it's peace and it's order and it's beauty, and you don't see what we see on this planet on the negative side. So how many people here would be willing to help Mother Earth by changing themselves and their thoughts and their feelings? Yeah, all right. So let's close with a prayer. And what I like you to do is join me in consciousness. Beautiful, loving Source, Father, Mother, God, your holy presence fills everything. Me, everyone here, this planet, this universe. Your beautiful love is so beautiful, it's overwhelming at times. And we are one with your beautiful love. And we declare, decree, accept, and know that Earth is blessed with peace and love, joy, happiness, harmony, a sense of oneness. And we decree that everyone on Earth is aware of their oneness with self, God, all others, and all other life, and all things in the planet and the universe. We decree that the love of Spirit is filling the people of Earth with peace and love and joy and a humbleness, a reverent humbleness that recognizes the beauty of every soul, the beauty of every sunset, every sunrise, and the beauty of themselves. We are each sacred beings, and we decree that this planet is awake. It is aware of its oneness, it's aware of its creator, it's aware of all those who are helping us, and there is peace on earth, and the planet is healed, and the planet is restored to the beautiful condition that it started with, and yet evolving in itself to an even more beautiful level. We decree peace throughout the world. We decree that all are fed. We decree that all are sheltered. We decree that all are loved. We decree that all work together. We decree that there is peace throughout this planet, in every heart and in every place. We decree a new world on this planet where the spirit of our being is the primary expression of our being. And we greet each other in that reverent oneness. And all are blessed, and the planet is blessed, and we accept this wonderful transformation for this planet, knowing it is God's perfect creation, and so it is.